Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Smite World Championships 2016. My name is Bart. This is Brandon. And, of course, the one and only Zapman. How are you guys doing?
Zapman made it to Worlds, but Zapman didn't.
Finally made it to Worlds. It sucks to not be playing, but it's great to cast.
Well, yeah, we saw the draft come in. Looking at the compositions here, we heard what the analysts had to say. Generally speaking, Isurus maybe having a little bit more of that defensive, strong frontline composition. And Epsilon, well, it looks like something that they can really kind of nip at the edges, fairly mobile. The Hunbots really sets up nicely with Isis as well, I thought.
I'm just really excited to see Nox played. I mean, she's one of my favorite gods right now in the game. She's super fun to watch. Great beads burning potential. I mean, there's a lot of potential in this comp from Isurus.
Definitely. Just from the picks and bans, you can tell that Isurus has been doing their homework on Epsilon because they took away the Giannis and the Thor from Epsilon, and they love to run that kind of pick comp.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier on, right, kind of trying to take away the global composition opportunities from the Epsilon squad, and indeed, Isurus is now going to roll as 5 down the left side of the map here. And they may run into Epsilon. Looks like Geb's going to see them down this corridor. Not really looking for a pick, looking to dominate the warning game, it appears, from Isurus.
Nothing taken from Nox yet. I don't know what she was going to be looking for. It's probably going to be the cripple.
Yeah, I love the group up by Isurus. It's a best of 1, so anything can happen. They were looking for the 5-man pick, but they didn't get it.
Yeah, good point there. I mean, like, it is a best of 1 matchup. So, you know, if you have that pocket strat and you're going up against arguably the best team in the world in Epsilon, it's a good time to see if you can find that early pick, get the early aggression, and they certainly have a composition that's capable of doing so.
If I was Epsilon, I'd be trying to play as safe as possible in the early game. You know, a lot of people are talking about Brazil and LATAM and China coming out with kind of janky strats in the first few minutes, so for them to play safe and just try to play their normal, very talented game, I think is their best scenario.
I think a lot of the action is going to be taking place in mid lane. They both picked really powerful mid-jungle combinations. Nox Thor is extremely potent, and so is Isis and Hunbots.
You get that stun off from Thor, and then it guarantees the combo from Nox.
It's a ton of damage.
Nox is a high-risk, high-reward style of character, though. I mean, if you miss those spells, she's really, really just out on a limb with nothing much to do. She's a little low on the mana here as well.
Yeah, you could tell that Isurus is going for early game aggression. You see the purple pot by Nox there.
Look at this, starting off strong. And remember, you saw the lack of mana there. She's trying to stack her passive up as early as possible, get a little bit more damage going into lane. I really want to see what we're going to get out of the junglers here. How fast are Adapting and Honor going to get to the lane?
Well, Honor and Adapting, they appear to pick up the orange buff roughly at the same time there. And they'll move, and it'll be a standard start all the way around the map, everyone picking up their buffs. And, well, you're going to see a little bit of Isis versus Nox in the mid lane here because it's she does not particularly excel in the clear department through the first few levels.
You know, what's interesting is that Isis here is going for the left Harpies, which is not going to be contested. So that tells me that Epsilon is looking for passive play early.
Which is smart. I mean, you don't want to contest as Isis into Nox. That silence is going to shut down the Wing Gust immediately.
You'll notice there in the top left of your screen, guys, giveaway trigger. First Phoenix that goes down will start a giveaway, similar to what we did on the red carpet. Free chest rolls for everyone that redeems it in the 5-minute window that it is active.
Oh, I thought he was actually going to tag him with that bounce.
Yeah.
That was close.
I don't expect too much action in the dual lane, actually. It's a pretty passive lane. Geb, Neath, they're really just there to clear the wave and get to the late game.
Super safe. Backflip, Geb shield, great clear even from the tower line. It's going to be pretty difficult for them to deal with. Xing10, having that Mark of the Vanguard, also going to be pretty hard to deal with. This is the point in the game in which I think he's weakest. He doesn't have great clear. Obviously, Bologna at level 3 is not going to have too much trouble. Nice stop.
Why did he start up that bludgeon so early to Dimmy?
Because he would have got stopped if he went for the
trying
background.
Trying to get the last
hit. Xing10 too, the knockup.
But she's still out clearing.
Still out clear with just, the in-hands there to the bludgeon. Well, no kills on the board, guys, here. Almost 2 minutes into this game, and it's been, you've heard us say a couple times, it's a fairly passive start. I mean, it's the first game of the tournament.
You know, if it stays like this, if it's passive, I think the game's going to come down to the solo laners. Who's going to have more of an impact? Is it going to be Dimmy on the Bologna, or is it going to be Xing10?
So yesterday you were talking about how the Death's Toll and Dev's Gloves is not something we're seeing a lot lately, but we see EXT doing that again. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, you know, it's the tanky meta right now. If he's going to go for Devil Gloves, he's really going to go for that mid-game power spike. Once he finishes his Icaral and his execution, he's going to have a ton of damage.
Going into, you know, really only the Bologna, though, that's going to be stacking up physical protection on the side of Epsilon. Do you think this is the best option versus, say, the Bluestone?
I mean, I'm not too sure, but...
Do you like Bluestone?
I got nerfed. Deathstone to me is the better item.
I don't like Bluestone on Hou-Yi.
I build it on everybody.
It's very hard to land those
Just
abilities.
dive at people. It's it's 22 damage. That's great.
Well, here's on her and awareness. They're gonna a lot better opportunity to clear there when you have a Thor hammer thinning out on top of the Nox darkness. But her wave clear is going to start coming online here soon, and Nox is going to be able to be pretty safe under tower.
Something that I'm interested in is to see how good of a Humbot's ult is adapting it again on his first ult, because I feel like that's going to set the pace of the game for him.
I'd be very scared if I was adapting. You have red pot on Thor, you have purple pot coming out from awareness. They have the ward in the mid lane to track, which I love. This early game ward is not seen very often, but I think it's going to be something that's very popular this weekend.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised that Epsilon would use it in this very first game. I think it belies a little bit of how much they are respecting the Isurus team here. I mean, I think Epsilon going into even some of the European teams from the Pro League wouldn't be coming out with such a safe start.
Yeah, I think what they really respect is the red and purple pod from Nox and Thor. They know they want to be aggressive early, and they're taking away that part of the game from them.
Mid camp's coming up on both sides. It looks like left will belong to red, although Khepri is making a rotation. Awareness rolling as well. It's going to be reset. No mid camps down so far.
Yeah, and there it is, really playing out exactly what Zatman was talking about there. Epsilon perfectly willing to dodge Isurus in these fights and just stay on level. I mean, I think it's the right decision, right? I mean, this is one of the better performing team fighting teams on planet Earth.
Yeah, and I love the rotation by the Hui. EXT and his teams are really communicating. Mid Harpies are up. We're going to go for left Harpies, make sure everyone rotates.
Got about a minute left before these potions are down, and I think that's when Epsilon's going to be willing to start taking the fight down. That'll be a 900 gold advantage inherent just because of the potions. And plus, there's somehow 400 gold ahead
exactly
anyway.
What I was going to say. I mean, you'll notice there that Epsilon, this is just an amazingly accomplished and extremely disciplined Smite team. And you see that playing out just in the laning phase, pulling out about 500 gold ahead of Isurus. But I think it is also worth noting that that leads like 1,000 or 2,000 against most teams in North America or Europe. So Isurus holding on quite nicely against Epsilon.
So we're getting now, it's almost 5 minutes, obviously no Gold Fury yet. Right side of the map, very quiet. Neither solo laner making rotations. They've been very safe in lane, just going for the wave.
Okay.
Oh, I was wrong. Well, what is this?
So they have the sentry ward down. They realize there's no ward from Isurus and Epsilon. They're going to go ahead and make this aggressive play on the left side of the map. Isis is down, and yeah, that ultimate is going to be enough to secure a Gold Fury in 5 minutes for Epsilon Gaming.
Extremely smart play by Epsilon. They know they have the Ice Assault, which is one of the best secures of the Gold Fury in the early game. And as soon as they put down the sentry, they noticed that the jungler was on the right side of the map.
Is there anything better? Is there anything better than the Ice Assault?
No, it's the best.
No, not really. I mean, and I think that maybe this one got over on Isurus because normally when you see that kind of composition, you're going to see a Bastet or an Amir or a Sobek or some other kind of really exceptional Gold Fury killing god. But on the side of Epsilon, they're able to four-man that there. Raffer tanking it up quite nicely. Emelito Bluestone Pennant ticking in. Right when he gets his power boots online, you can see they just go right in and take the Gold Fury, and successful it has been.
Emelito looks like going into the Soul Leader, I guess just running into that tank meta.
Yep.
Right? Very tanky team. And then Isis, of course, damage reduction. Humbot's very mobile. Going to be hard to lock them down.
Yeah, Emelito was really one of the first hunters to bring out this Soul Leader build. And actually, at first, I wasn't blue. I said, why don't you go damage? You need to go damage. But then I started trying it, and it's actually really strong.
So much HP out of that item.
Yeah, 300.
It's a good item.
It is.
Really strong. Even before the nerf, I think it was very underrated. And now that it's, it's become a huge staple.
Well, a big thing that, changed on that item was that it moved from having a lifesteal aura, right? And the lifesteal aura was just not as effective, really, for the team.
Right.
And also, it's one of the best items on high-scaling gods, and Neith's abilities alone are really high-scaling. So he doesn't have to rely on his in-hands for damage. He could just rely on Spirit Arrow.
Any chance we see the that kind of power pen-based Neith build here?
It could be possible. I'm not too sure if Emelito's really a fan of that.
Adapting, finds himself a little bit of trouble, but he's going to turn and burn. Honor's going to go up into the sky. That Neith ultimate already did hit. Not going to be available on her, considering going back in, but no, indeed, he will retreat to the tower. Sees the Soul Laners rotating over.
Smart play by Honor, because if he would have ultied the Hunbots could have easily jumped it and baited him into a free kill.
Damage coming out. Khepri trying to get away from this one. Adapting going pretty deep. I don't know if they're going to be able to really lock this one down.
But nice Thor wall's going to disrupt it for now. Khepri's going to revive himself in place. Bettany's still down, though. Hunbots adapting, got a first hit crit there for 201 damage, and that is your Logitech First Blood.
That is fear. Bart. Honor was nowhere ready to go in. Nox wouldn't commit either, and poor Khepri just all alone. Stuck in the jungle, gets picked off, multiple ultimates used, but First Blood, Epsilon is in a really good position. They have Gold Fury, they had a lead, there was 2 potions wasted on the side of Isurus. This looks good.
Yeah, I'm really glad they just decided to use everything. They use Humbot Salt, Ice Assault, and a lot of people complain, oh, use too many ults for a kill, but guess what? That's First Blood, and it sets the pace of the rest of the game.
It's a huge bounty. Plus, shutting Khepri down, making him a little bit squishier than Geb going into the egg game is so important.
Yeah, the thing is, if you start shutting down a support early, they're going to be scared. They're supposed to be this tanky presence, and they won't feel that way if they're getting killed left and right.
This is curious.
Xing10 just, hey, you know what? You got an ultimate, might as well use it.
I mean, he got his beads, right? I'm very surprised that Dimmy decided to beads.
Yeah, it's a beads one, yeah, indeed. I mean, well, he's respecting that the Thor is there. I think that the issue is that he doesn't know that the Thor is sitting on basically no mana, probably saw the rotation and thought, hey, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, the reason they do that is because in 100, the beads aren't going to be up for 3 minutes. So now, basically, the Xing 10 is telling Thor, hey, you can come gank. You have a 3-minute window to come and gank.
Do you gank Bologna, though?
It's possible with Xing 10. He has magic damage.
That's true. That's true. Decent damage can shut down her return damage.
Well, but if not Bologna, what lane are you ganking here? Trying to find the Neath then? I mean, she's probably the easiest target, or the Isis. I mean, neither of them having really effective escapes.
Yeah, the Neath is the best target for the Thor. If the Neath backflips, it's very slow, guarantees the stun into hammer combination.
I'm just excited to see what Epsilon has done here. They've drafted such an incredible comp of just tanky control. They're making sure that they can get Isis into the end game and look for those big bursts onto objectives. I think they're going to be looking to fight under things like towers and Gold Furies for sieges to ensure that Isurus is going to get pushed back little by little, forced to heal, forced to gain their gold back, or mana back rather, and it's going to be hard for them to keep it up considering there's a Geb with the shield, they have Isis with heals, they have adapting to control the front. It's strong.
Yeah, something I would like to see from both teams are different ward placements. You could see each team has wards pretty much on the opposite side of each other. No one's really taking the risk of aggressively counter-warding, actually, up until now.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, EXTT, he's in a little bit of trouble, but hey, drops the stun, stands underneath him. That is one of the major benefits of playing Hou Yi. Can place a very defensive ultimate in the early game and can be a nice team fight disruptor later on.
Yeah, 100% worth it. The Humbot's got, again, beads 1. It's another 3-minute cooldown. He might revisit that lane soon.
I would like to see that. I want to see him try to camp this lane down. If they're looking for a win here, taking down Hou Yi, I mean, that's their big damage carry. Remember, Nox isn't going to have a way to really confirm a lot of damage in the endgame without help.
And the thing to note, Hou Yi, like Neath, is one of the easier gods to gank because he doesn't have any CC immunity built in his kit.
Ooh, but hey, if you hop over the Cataclysm, that'll do it every time.
Nice. And that was really important, too, because Raffer was waiting there for like 40 seconds. That's a lot of lost farm time.
You could definitely tell that EXT is in the zone, and he is just locked in.
Both supports now, level 9. Bettany able to catch up because Raffer was looking for that kill for so long. EXTT getting free experience now.
As is sometimes the case, you know, maybe more often than not in Smite, it is the supports that are the captains of each team. Bettany and Raffer, you see them on the screen right now. Those are your captains from each side.
Now, they can't let another Gold Fury go the way of Epsilon. That's why we're seeing more of a rotation on the left side.
I mean, they have a tremendous amount of wards as Isurus around the Gold Fury, but none of them are sentries.
Control over in the mid lane. It looks like right side camps should go to red here. Will owner go over? No, it looks like it's just going to be a split camp.
I do want to know, I mean, Isurus is playing this very reactionary.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, and some of that may be due to this continued ward placement here in the mid lane that's keeping really good track of where the bulk of the team is. But I think, you know, with this Thor and Nox combination, we've been saying about how potent it is, they got to get aggressive.
Oh, strange. Bettany, no, gonna miss the abduct. Not in a great position here. Emilito sending some damage down. Background, wasted the Isis ult. That could be very important.
Yeah, and then takes a nice chunk of damage out of awareness. Awareness shows up the ultimate. That's gonna slow down Neath just a bit, but this looks like a good opportunity to get aggressive here on the side of Epsilon as they move forward and they swarm through the middle of the map.
Yeah, Isurus saw that adapting wasn't there with his Humbot, so they said, okay, this is our chance to be aggressive. It didn't work out. Khepri missed an ability, and Thor also missed his ult.
Good news here, though. Xing 10 does have his Breastplate of Valor plus cooldown boots done.
Look at this.
This is a nice bait coming out on the side of Epsilon, but once again, EXTT, he's going to avoid another big ultimate leaping over with Hou Yi. They're going to be able to zone out the rest of Isurus fairly well will Epsilon, but Bologna on the rotation. It'll find Nowser. Nowser will find Bologna back. Can they root her? No. Beads are going to be used. The Suns are dropped as well. Dimmy about half HP. Nowser out of mana, however, and the rest of Isurus all about 50% on the resources on her. Ooh, I don't know about this one. He's rooted by the Neath. He's going to use the bead. Spear ball over the wall. Not on the mark. Khepri ultimate has been used, and that'll be enough to force Epsilon back.
Gold Fury still available. We'll see Red start to rotate over and continue to push this advantage.
Yeah, they will 100% go for the Gold Fury. No alts exist on
Isurus is going to try. They're thinking.
I mean,
they have no beads. They have no abilities.
They're going to wipe. I mean, they're going to wipe if they try to go into this.
They're taking too long anyway. This is done.
Take the long way around.
It's another one.
Already going to be completed. You can see the view from Epsilon. EXTT rounds the corner, but a little too late.
Yeah. One of the hardest things to do in Smite is to give away a Gold Fury. You know you got beat, and then you don't want to get beat and lose the Gold Fury, and that kind of draws you into that trap where you start getting snowballed on if you get wiped trying to steal the Gold Fury.
Emilito continues to farm up, going right to the purple buff. Epsilon leads still at 12 minutes, only 1 kill up, but the experience and gold are starting to skyrocket. Let's go to the graphs, and we'll show you 2 Gold Furies deep, a 4,100 gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, this is going to be death by 1,000 cuts, it looks like, on the side of Isurus. Epsilon just taking little by little, and I mean, you saw it in that early laning phase, about 500 gold advantage coming out of that first 5-minute gambit, essentially, and now they're going to continue to extend that lead through objective play.
Yeah, Epsilon's playing their team comp perfectly. They know that Isurus had a better early game. They went the purple and red pot, so they said, okay, we're going to back off. We're going to farm better than them. We're going to look for that early Gold Fury, which they found with the Ice Assault, and now they have a good lead.
And now going into this mid game, oh, hold that thought. Honor, he's going to take a look over here at the right side. He's going to be on the mark with the stun on a Demi, but Demi, Roma Invicta, out he gets.
The problem there was that Thor didn't realize that Shing10 DR'd the Bologna, so as soon as he stunned, Demi was able to get his ult off right away.
That hurts, right? I mean, he used pretty much everything on that side of the map, and now Emilito knows that he can apply pressure to EXTT and keep the duo lane locked down. And with the Gold Fury being down, the supports don't really want to hover on this side of the map too much, so it's kind of in a weird spot of this 1-for-1. If Adapting rotates to duo, this should be a kill.
Epsilon is insanely powerful, like right this moment. Their power spike has really come online. You have Isis with one of the higher DPS output buildups in the Chronos Pendant and Pen Boots for Beads 3. That'll give you 2 sets of abilities essentially in a fight. You have the Stone of Gaia on top of a Sovereignty, on top of a Soul Eater, so all of your frontliners are going to be very, very tanky based on those auras, and just the innate tankiness that Bologna is going to get out of that Stone of Gaia in addition to the regen. Looking at the side of Isurus, they don't have those big, really teamfight altering tier 3s up right now in terms of items.
Right, I mean, especially looking at the junglers, Onur doesn't even have his Jotun's Wrath online yet, whereas we look at Adapting, he's already got the Jotuns, plus he's got a little bit of crit going as well. So now, what, 35% chance to crit off the ability?
Yeah, the Jotuns is pretty much the staple item on any assassin jungle. If the other jungler has it before you, you have to lay back. Can't do anything.
The issue is he can't really lay back anymore. Like Bart said,
1,400 net worth behind.
It has to be reactionary, and he's in a position where he can't not farm.
Yeah, one of the ways... Oh, here's a fight.
They're just going to put a bunch of damage out onto awareness.
Look at this.
I mean, look how much poke he's going to get. He's poked out. And look at that. Adapting actually misses the overhand smash on purpose to wait out the Kepri ultimate, and down will go the mid laner. What a player.
That is the level of play we're looking at from Adapting. That instantaneous decision-making, that audible call that he just made to not take the kill and pop the Kepri ult. And by the way, that was another death by 1,000 cuts right there. Just little by little, just poking him down until he couldn't do anything. That was another 2 ultimates.
Oh, they found the leap out of EXTT. No, they got it on startup. He will still have it available, and away he will go. But tier 1 has fallen, and that is going to be your first tower.
Yeah, you know, as soon as the first tower is down, that's going to start a little bit of the snowball. The Epsilon gets a little bit of global gold, and now they're going to say, hey, we can easily take their towers if we group up. So I think laning phase is probably going to be over from now on.
Those level 2 beads being down as well. That's almost 2 minutes still that EXTT can be a sitting duck. I want to see more pressure into this side of the map. Keep him locked down. If Emilito can get ahead, you know, Neath versus Ho Yi in the endgames app, who do you give that to?
Definitely Neath in the early game. Ho Yi can actually kill Neath if he all-ins her, but it's a very risky play, and not many hunters would be willing to do that.
Come on.
He's baiting that kill.
I would.
You would.
And with another tower down, Adapting, nearly getting closer and closer to 2,000 gold ahead of the enemy jungler, a couple levels as well, and a massive item disparity on the hunter Zap, man. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, I mean, when you go Soul Eater, you're kind of weak and have a lot of in-hand damage, and you really start hitting that power spike when you get the Ichaival. Now that Neath has the Ichaival, Hui has no chance.
Right, it completely shreds the damage of the Dev's Glove.
It's a 60 damage split.
Exactly, and that's what he's gaining. So it's going to be an even split. Lifesteal pretty much even, but until he gets that Ichaival completely online, EXTT's in a bad spot.
It is the ultimate boxing item.
Do you even think that, I mean, I think that I would have maybe even preferred to just see the Executioner come out. I mean, at this point, Hu Yi, he ain't boxing Neath until 25+ minutes. Should he be going and itemizing a little bit more into the late game, or you know, is it just so compulsory to be able to fight that Neath in lane?
I mean, he could do that, but the Ichaival is so good also because it gives a lot of attack speed.
It's also very cheap, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very cheap, a lot of attack speed. Hui's weakest point is that he has no attack speed steroids, so he really needs that item.
Bettany, I think, had a pretty free dodge there, but you still see him use the Abduct even under 50% mana. This is showing a little bit of fear. I think Raffer's putting it into him.
Ooh. Yemen's going straight into the Spear of the Magus here on top of the penetration boost. This Isis is going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage. Honor going up. Emilito's going to get caught. Oh, nope.
Got the double tap. Decent damage, but here comes Adapting.
They're going to get the Neath ultimate. Overhead smash. One more hit will do it. And away he goes. Adapting the god. Out he leaves from the tower. Presence of mind.
You know, I've been casting this game for so long, and in my head, I've seen that play 1,000 times, right? And every single
Hunbots
time,
never has the jump.
No, the Hunbots always jumps out of the tower into the lane. He jumped like right into the purple buff, and I went, wait, where did he go? It's crazy.
Yeah,
Gold Fury started up again here, guys. Let's take a listen in with Epsilon as Nauzer tries to disrupt the Gold Fury.
Nowhere to go.
Well, there you go. You heard it. Epsilon swarms all over Isurus as they try to prevent the third Gold Fury going the way of the boys in blue. And it doesn't look like they're going to be successful with this one. 3 members down, plus a Gold Fury going to the side of Epsilon.
Yeah, at this point, Isurus is pretty desperate. They needed to at least try to steal that Gold Fury. It didn't work out.
It was close.
Yeah, it was close. It was a good try. They had to do that.
Man, but we have not seen many shutdowns in the history of competitive Smite, where a team has gotten no kills, but so far it's shaping up that way. Epsilon has a very tanky team. It seems very hard for Isurus to get even someone to have health at this point.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Epsilon's play. A team of that caliber, usually they're a little bit overconfident, as we have the replay here.
Looking at the intel turning point of the game, this is adapting, diving into the mid lane tower. And what you're looking at, there's the port in, over at Smash. Nope, not going to hit him there. They're going to wait out this Khepri ultimate. One more smack should do it, and there it is, adapting.
Do you see him actually getting the third hit of the hit chain, too, to make sure he can guarantee it? And he got it within, like,
good.
5 frames of that Khepri falling off. Like, that is not human ability.
And now a Deathbringer is going to be up for that Hunbots as well. And you saw earlier, 3 Gold Furies going to the side of Epsilon so far.
Yeah, but back to my point about the way Epsilon is playing. A team of this skill, usually they play a little bit cocky, a little bit, you know.
You would know.
But you can tell Epsilon's just playing their game. They're playing extremely calculated. They're not taking any risks. They really respect Isurus.
By the way, I would have not guessed that Neath was the top player damage this game. 9,200.
Well, she's been tossing out those ultimates. You got to think, this is a game that hasn't had a lot of team fights, hasn't had a lot of 10-man skirmishes, and Neath has gotten, you know, a few hundred damage in every fight based on ability usage, and yeah, she climbs the towers up, not to mention the Bluestone Pennant chipping away at Hu Yi in the lane.
There go the Suns trying to keep him locked down. Emilito willing to take some damage just to ensure he gets more damage on the tower. Trouble here. Cataclysm still in the beads.
Beads still active, yeah, that lasted a long time. And in will come Nowser here. Raffer in a bit of trouble. He's going to actually like to go back through the tower. Nowser off the mark with the ultimate, unable to keep him locked in. That could have been their first kill.
I think that was a Heavenly Agility Bard. I think that's what got him out of there. He just barely outranged it.
You know, Nowser also had another leap, and he chose not to use it, thinking he had the distance. Maybe he didn't hear the Heavenly Agility.
He does have the E-Staff, however, though, so this is going to be a pretty effective frontline tank for Isurus, but they're going to concede their tier 1 and look to defend at the tier 2. Just off to the right side is Yaman looking for the Spirit Ball to set things up. Emilito's going to find the pin on a Bettany. Spirit Ball pending here from Yaman. Here it comes. It's going to find no one. No, they're going to force out the dash from Nox, however.
We should see an Isis ult here in just a second. We still have the Eagles rally as well on the side of Epsilon. Isurus trying to hold this down, but they don't have a lot of CC and control outside of what's been used.
They have Demi locked down, but they can't burst him underneath the tier 2, even with it pounding into him, and that's a free tier 2 for Epsilon.
Yeah, you can see Isurus' comp, how well it can work and how much damage they can put out. If they were able to do this more in the early game and not fall so far behind, they could have taken this.
I mean, how do you force a team to fight you, though, in the situation where Epsilon's trying to dodge you the whole time? I mean, what adjustment should Isurus, or could they have even made, given their comp?
Instead of splitting the mid-harpies, they should have just mirrored Epsilon's movements in the jungle and try to force the fight that way.
This, to me, is looking very similar to what we saw from Envy and Eager, to the point where Envy is getting decent plays, but Eager was just so far ahead in their set that it just wasn't able to make it happen. Like, they're getting the CC combos off, they're getting the damage off, but at that point, Zap, I'm sure you knew your team was basically invincible. It's the same thing. Like, the way they just comboed Dimmy under a tier 2 and he laughed it off.
Exactly. The thing is, though, when a team is playing that defensive, the other team has to kind of force the play. So you start seeing these combos from the other team going off.
And look at this, we got a split push cam right now. He goes for the red buff, takes it by himself. That's another big power spike. He's going Lost Artifact, which means with the Chronos Pendant, I mean, it's not going to be a Doom Orb, he's rushing Rod.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And why not, right?
Yeah, and well, I mean, hey, it could be a Doom Orb. Maybe looking to style a little bit.
Yaman?
No, yeah, it's a Ratatouille.
Maybe Dimmy. I can see Dimmy going for it.
Well, I mean, he's basically building up the, you know, this is like the ideal itemization if you're a mage. Like, if you can affect this somehow, then you're perfect. Fire Giant started up. The rest of Isurus, they seem to know that, yes, they do indeed know that it's been started up. They're being zoned up by Geb for the moment. The rest of Epsilon looks like they want to fight. They're going to pull off the Fire Giant. 2 beads going to be popped by Dimmy on the right side. That's going to be EXTT zoned out for now. The fight's continuing underneath the orange buff, and Epsilon is going deep for this one. The Suns are going to be dropped onto Adapting, but Yaman will pick up the kill onto Awareness. Adapting finds EXTT. Nowser's recalling, and they are conceding the Fire Giant to Epsilon Gaming, now up something like 14,000 golden experience.
It's getting pretty bad, Bart. It's getting to the point now where Epsilon is baiting a, 30% Fire Giant for 2 kills, plus 2 sets of beads as well. This is going to be impossible for Isurus to really defend. They're going to have to concede this and hope they make mistakes.
Yeah, and Bart, earlier you talked about how you can force someone to fight, and this is one way. They baited the Fire Giant, they had vision control, they forced Isurus into an uncomfortable spot, and they took advantage.
Trouble.
Oh, Bettany.
Trouble.
Look at that, back-to-back 3 crits in a row out of adapting, putting on 1,000 damage into that Khepri. Never mind your Sovereignty and Heartward Amulet, still gonna melt underneath the monkey.
There's the 14,000 you were looking for, Bart, right there. It's getting closer to 15. It's 14-5 right now as they move towards the final tier 2
Look how
in
fast
the mid lane.
Bots is going to eclipse Neath in the damage output once he finishes Deathbringer. I mean, he has like tripled his damage output in the last couple minutes.
Where are we in terms of structure damage, right? I mean, like, does anyone on blue, have they been able to scratch towers on side of the
0
right
damage
side?
dealt to towers by Isurus.
It's all minions. Oh my God, and look at this, 3,700 coming out from Emilito.
My goodness.
Another Gold Fury. Look, it's like they planned this. It looks like a football play. The way that they're running around the map and every objective's up. We'll go to the graphs. That's another huge spike here. 17,700 for the seemingly undefeatable Epsilon.
Yeah, I expect Epsilon here to get all their big items, Deathbringer, Ratatouille, and then they're probably going to push down and win here.
Indeed they will. Ratatouille completed. There's an Iqval on Bologna giving her some one-on-one solo potential. There's a Titan's Bane plus some physical protection coming out of the bot. That'll eventually be the Mail of Renewal. Ratatouille, no, it looks like he's going to sell off a start and try to finish that while adapting.
I love the pickup by Emilito here. He went for the flat pen with the Brawler's Beat Stick. He really just wants his Spirit Hour to do a ton of damage.
Look at this. I mean, look at just the item charts. You can see like some 6th items getting started, or 5th items if you don't count starter items. Over on the left side, there are 2 tier 1s in the 5th item slot. Like, that alone, I think, spells the difference in skill between these two teams. Epsilon really looks like a world championship team today.
Yeah, they look amazing. I love that they just took Isurus so seriously, and they're really just playing their game.
And, you know, like you said before, I almost didn't expect it. You know, and I think that's one of the reasons that TSM and Titan last year had a little bit of trouble with China, is they went in thinking that they weren't going to be as strong. Right, and Epsilon treated these people as if they were playing to get here.
I mean,
as they should.
More recently, TSM, you know, went into that with that mindset against Enemy.
That's true.
That's why we have Enemy competing here at Worlds. I mean, you know, never underestimate your opponent. They could have boot camps in really, I mean, Steve, maybe you can shed a little light on this. I mean, how often does it happen that a team, you know, is through the regular season, or, you know, is performing at one level and then they boot camp and they go into LAN and they perform so much better? I mean, do you feel like every team gets better going into LAN, or what's kind of the process there?
Yeah, I mean, you boot camp for the other team, but what really matters is how do players perform in LAN? How do they perform under the pressure, right? If you go in with a solid game plan like Enemy and really just get the right picks and bans, you go in with so much confidence and you can take on anybody.
The Suns are already down 2 Phoenixes as well, as the chat, I'm sure, is triggered.
They'll have a hard time denying Epsilon here taking this 3rd Phoenix. Seat Plan is your giveaway code, guys. Go ahead and put that into Smite. If you are just joining us here, this is game number 1 of day number 1 of the Smite World Championships. 25 minutes, nearly 26 in. 2 Phoenixes down. Isurus trying to hold out Epsilon Esports.
They're not even that they don't have it. They're burning through Xingchen, adapting, finding another one with EXTT. Bettany goes down 3. He doesn't want to go into that. They're looking for the shutdown. 0-12 right now. Isurus trying to fight, but the 3rd bird falls. 13-0. Epsilon looking to close it out.
Surrender vote started up by Isurus. I don't think this one's going to go through. They're going to pile right on into the Titan, and Epsilon Gaming will win the first game of the Smite World Championships of 2016 over Isurus 14-0.